Greetings and welcome to CAP092B, Google Apps for Personal and Professional Productivity. My name is Curtis Pembroke and I'll be your instructor for this short course. And if you haven't done so already, please make sure that you download and print a copy of the syllabus so you can follow along as you watch this video in case you want to take notes of the syllabus or you have any questions for me while I cover the information in the syllabus. As I said, my name is Curtis Pembroke, and I've been an instructor at Mission College for 20 years, which is remarkable because the time has just flown by. I started as faculty instructional designer. I helped teachers develop the first online courses that we ever had at Mission College, and then from that job I moved into teaching in both computer applications and graphic design and multimedia, where I teach JavaScript programming, web development, and animation classes. And in computer applications, I teach, of course, Google Apps, Microsoft Excel, PowerPoint, practically any software from Microsoft that you might utilize in the workplace. And you can reach me at Mission College via email. We're not on campus, so I won't be in my office, although you can leave a voicemail on my phone extension, 5275 at Mission College. I will have virtual office hours. Generally, these are the times. We may have special arrangement that we need to make if you can't make these times or you need times outside of these. Our course meets from the 19th through December 19th, and then we're on Christmas vacation. The course is entirely online. It's not live. There's no requirement for any synchronous live activities whatsoever. This is purely an online course, and we'll do all our talking via the discussion forums. And then, of course, you'll watch the videos that I post. In order for you to be considered enrolled in this course, since it's online, you need to complete all 4 items in the orientation folder by 10/22, or you will be dropped. And that is because I need to report official enrollment to the state of California by the 22nd. And if you don't check in, I have to assume you're not in the class. After the 22nd, if you fail to continue to work in the class, you will not be dropped. You'll receive an F because after the 22nd, if you want to withdraw, you need to take care of that and withdraw from the class. And the last day to do the withdrawal is on the 29th. I will not withdraw you from the course if you go missing in action after the 22nd. As you look through the syllabus, there's some important dates that you can look through on your own. I'm not going to make this reading by Curtis because you can read the syllabus, but what I will say is that our course basically introduces you to Google applications, and we're going to talk about how to use those applications to be productive. Now, a lot of you may have been introduced to Google Docs on the job or in K-12, either in middle school or high school. We're seeing that more frequently. But what we'll look at is ways to use these tools to increase your productivity as well as how they work. And when you're done, you're going to be familiar with the tools that Google, that at least actually only about a quarter of the tools in Google Suite, like Google Doc and Google Sheets, which is equivalent to PowerPoints. We'll take a look at Google Forms. We're going to look at Google Meet. You'll look at Google Sites towards the end just to get an idea of it and how that works. In terms of textbook, there's no textbook required. Everything you need will be in Canvas. Just one caveat though, Google Apps are, it's an application or a web app, which means it can be updated at a moment's notice by Google, and things change. So my videos, although I try to keep them up to date, They may be a little different than what you see in the apps depending on whether Google is changing the application. In terms of assignments, you have 6 hands-on exercises where you do something with the software, and then 6 collaborate exercises where you talk about what you did and you make suggestions to one another on how to use the software in purposeful ways. And then you have the final examination worth 160 points, which is not comprehensive. It's all project based, and I'll talk about the final exam a little later. In terms of grading, it's pretty straightforward grading criteria, although I have to tell you, you already have an A in my class. And basically, what I mean by that is I look at effort, not perfection. So as long as you work on the assignments and you submit them in Canvas as I instruct you to, you'll receive an A in the class. So it's really hard to get anything other than an A. You need to genuinely do the work and collaborate with your peers. And the secret is collaborate, because research shows us that students who communicate and collaborate in an online course more than likely complete the course. So I'm looking for you to communicate and collaborate on the collaborate exercises as much as doing something with the software. The schedule's pretty straightforward. I show you each week what you need to cover in reading or what's in online that we'll be covering in Canvas, and then the assignments. So for example, this week you need to review the syllabus and the orientation, and then take a look at Introduction to Google Drive, which basically gets you oriented to Google Drive, because Drive is where it's at. That's where all the apps are as well. It's where you store your files, if you will, when you utilize the apps. So you need to know how to use Drive in order to work with Google Apps. And there's a hands-on exercise that you need to complete, and of course you need to complete the orientation. Each week you can see how things are repeat. You have a hands-on exercise along with collaborate exercises, which is like a discussion, an online discussion in Canvas using forums. With the exception of week 2, where you just have a collaborate exercise, because actually we're not going to use Google Talk. I should change that. It's now called Google Meet, and we'll use Google Meet, and we'll talk about Google Calendar. We have Thanksgiving on 11/23, thank goodness, because I think we all need a break from school and from COVID. And hopefully we'll have some normalcy then, and the election will be behind us, and we'll all feel like the world is going to be a safer place, and there'll be no civil war. So, the rest of the stuff in this syllabus is the obligatory stuff that we have to put in it. It's what the college prescribes. There's some good information on things like assistance, tutoring. By the way, if you need a laptop to access the course, if for some reason, because we're all online in this new normal, there is assistance available to help you get a computer. You should email me and I'll send you that information. So that just about does it for the syllabus review. If you have any questions, this is very important. If you have any questions, you're going to post your questions to the questions forum in Canvas. And the reason you're going to do that is because students tend to have the same questions. And in an online course, if you email me your question, then I get that same question about 20 times. And so what I try to do is emulate what goes on in the face-to-face classroom and have you post your question in the discussion forum. That's similar to raising your hand, right? In a traditional classroom, your classmates with the same question see your question, I answer your question, or maybe they'll answer your question, because you can answer one another's questions. And that's kind of what happens in the regular classroom, and then we're done. If you have a question of a personal nature, like, Curtis, I need an extension on the hands-on exercise number 2, then that's where you'll send me an email. In which case I'll tell you, oh, by the way, let me remind you, and I'll tell you now, I give you all a 48-hour extension on all due dates. So if you are late, you don't have to tell me until 2 days after the assignment, with the exception of the final exam. And the reason I do that is because I know that you all have lives outside of school and things get in the way, and sometimes your boss or your spouse might give you extra work around the house or extra to-do list items at work, and you might get behind, and I understand that. So when you see the due dates in Canvas, you actually get 2 extra days. If you're going to go longer than 2 days, that's when you would email me. So that about covers it for the syllabus. If you have any questions, post your questions in the questions forum, and welcome to the class.